All right, everybody. We're going to chat about the 28-day Summer Slimdown. I know there's a couple of you on the line right now, and there's going to be a lot of people that listen to this afterwards, so I'm doing a recording. I'm going to put this in presentation mode. All right, can you all see that? Maria and Tina who are on here? Say yeah. All right, so let's get it going. So before I go to this slide, though, the most important thing to know, just to start off with, is that this is my second time actually running this 28-day program. And we actually did it in January with the members of our program. I did it as a free challenge. On a quarterly basis, what I like to do for my members is give them a free challenge. So we're big into challenges. And typically what we do is we do a 6-week or 42-day transformation program. That's kind of my number one way of getting folks into our program. And the reason why I started doing these 6-week challenges is because I wanted to try to do the best thing I could to give people the best results possible in a pretty short amount of time, that being 6 weeks. So about 2 years ago, we started really focusing on a 6-week transformation challenge, and the results have been outstanding. Actually, before that period, I had been doing health and fitness for 27 years, but in the last 2 years, I've had more successful transformations than I did in the first 27. So again, in the last 2 years, I had better results and a higher number of transformations than I did in my first 27. And that's kind of mind-blowing to me, how successful I've been in the last 2 years. And just, not like trying to toot my own horn here. My whole thing is like, I'm never satisfied. Like, I'm always trying to get better results for me, my family. I want to figure out, how do I not exercise really? How do I get the best results and do the least amount of work? So and keep it off, not like dieting or things like that. Like no starving, really no counting calories per se, not overworking, because we're all super busy, and I typically work with people who are just super busy, and they really don't want to exercise. They have to. We all need to, but in the ideal world, there's other things that we should all be doing, right? Like taking care of our families and being with our friends and having fun and not working so much. So my number one goal really is to figure out how to reduce stress for people. So that's really what I do. And unfortunately, we do have to exercise. We have to move the body. We don't respond well to sitting. So I put together a really focused 6-week challenge, and that is my norm. And that is still what we do. That's still going to be my best program. It's got a lot of support. It's the same 3 components, though, as this. It's, the similarities is that both programs and everything I do has a fitness component. So our fitness component is going to be unlimited training of a group personal training model. So everybody that takes the 28-day program or my 42-day program will have access to unlimited workouts at our facility at 4 locations. So we have over 100 sessions per week, and the model is that it's different all the time. I write up all the workouts, just like you and I were doing one-on-one training, but my trainers are executing those workouts. So on Monday, many of you who are starting the program will experience a total body workout. And on Wednesday and Friday, it will be a total body workout as well. And the goal of Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays is to challenge you doing big muscle groups, pushing exercises, pulling, squatting, lunging. We'll probably burn about 300 to 500 calories. But my main message to you is, especially if you're new with me, is that exercise is a very small piece of the transformation puzzle. So I don't want you new people to get hurt. So just listen to your body and modify. I'm more important in you doing slow, deliberate movements with good breathing and nice, tall posture than I am you loading and trying to do too much. So don't even worry about grabbing heavy loads. I'm more interested in the skill of how you do things first. And over time, we'll push it. We'll get better. Some of you are going to be in better shape than others, but don't worry about it. especially if you haven't done anything for a while, I really just want you to focus really on your breathing, on your hydration, on your sleep, and your food. And the exercise is kind of a bonus, all right? So I work with people all over the country who don't even work out with me, and they have phenomenal results as well. So I just want to start with that. So the 28-day program came about because it was something I just gave to my members in January. And interestingly enough, the results in that program, on average, were about 10 pounds lost and about 3% body fat. And a lot of people increased about 3 to 5 pounds of muscle, which is kind of ridiculous. So interestingly enough, the protocol on here for nutrition and just what we did, and you guys have access to it as we get into this, showed better results in 28 days than what a lot of people achieved in my 6-week challenge. And my 6-week challenge is a way more higher level of coaching. We communicate with people every day. So just want you to know, the results on this were really good. We had 200 people take it on. And we had, we worked with a lot of people at that time. And I have changed a number of things since then, as I'll go into. So that's kind of the background. So I want to make sure you guys fill out your goal sheet. So make sure you get that done. There's a goal sheet in your welcome email. Get that done when you can. And it's really more for you than it is me. When you get the goals out of your head, you're more likely to achieve them. So you want to get specific. So most people want to lose weight, but if you really think about it, what kind of weight do you want to lose? You don't want to lose muscle, right? You don't want to lose bone, right? You don't want to lose an organ, right? So it's very specific. The weight you actually want to lose is fat. It's not weight. You actually don't want to lose weight. You actually want to lose fat. So that is really what we want to lose. And we want to get specific. And we're going to get so specific, we're going to measure it. We're going to measure your fat, because if we don't measure your fat, then we don't know what we did, right? So you guys, whether you're stick with us after 4 weeks or not, I encourage you to buy a cheap scale called a Renfo scale. We use it at the studio as well. It's $27 on Amazon. And hopefully, if you never continue out with me again after this, you continue to measure your body fat. Because if you don't, you're going to gain weight back. If you don't measure it, you're going to gain it back. If you ignore the scale, you're going to gain weight. It's just what it is. So when you focus on something, you generally get better results. It's that simple. So that's my key tip for all of you. What is your why? So in the goal sheet, I asked, what is your why? Why do you want to do this? Why now? And why not yesterday? Why not last week? So get really clear on that, because that's going to keep you motivated, because there's going to be things that show up in the next 28 days that are probably going to distract you. You may want to quit because somebody got sick around you. Maybe you got sick. Maybe you got a little injury. Maybe, there's something going on at work. There's a million reasons to quit, right? But if your why is strong enough, you realize that you are the most important thing to take care of, all right? That's my main thing. So my why is to be healthy, to be a role model, because if I'm not feeling good, I'm not going to be able to help people. I have 700 clients right now, and I want to work with people around the country on the nutrition and coaching. I can't do that if I'm not well. I can't be a good father to my kids. I can't be a good husband to my wife, right? So think about your why, but that's kind of mine. My goal is to serve people and make them healthier and fitter, really. So that's me. What are the top 3 things you want to accomplish? Get really specific on that. All right. Next. So after you all signed up, you should have received this 28-day, an email, a welcome email with access to this. And actually, it's not called the Belly Blast. It is called, what's called the skinny, what's it called? The Summer Slimdown, yes, Summer Slimdown. So, yeah, you have access to that in your portal. I'll go to that in a second. And there's 3 main areas of our program. There's fitness, I already mentioned that. So we have unlimited classes you can attend. Everybody goes, how many should I attend? As many as you can. My goal for you is to work out 30 minutes a day and try to get in 10,000 steps. Now, if you come to our workouts, it's easier for you. You don't have to think about what you're going to do. We're going to have you just do it. I'm going to create the program, and you're going to just show up and do the workouts. So you basically have a personal trainer 7 days a week if you want it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, total body workouts. Tuesdays and Thursdays are core cardio recovery days. They're easier systemically. My goal is not to get your heart rate up on a Tuesday and Thursday. Saturday is like a bonus day, and Sunday we have yoga if you want to do yoga. But if you don't want to come to our workout, that's fine. Go for a walk. And most important, I want you to stop sitting as much. I'm sitting right now, and sitting is the most dangerous thing you can do. So stand more than you sit and walk more than you stand, and get outside, enjoy nature. And we have good weather right now. If you don't want to come to our workouts, get some sunshine. All right. So, but you have access. Nutrition, you got the food that we're going to go over right now. We're going to go over this very briefly because you guys can read it. Nutrition, think of as food and recommended supplementation. We'll go over that shortly. And then the third component of everything that I do is accountability and coaching. If you have a question, ask. That it's easy. Ideally, use the Facebook group. The Facebook group. Based upon the structure of this particular program, like in our 42-day program, like people talk to me like all the time. It's just part of the program. But based upon the model of this, it was made to be kind of like pretty simple and just be a super effective and simple. I don't think you're going to need a lot of coaching, but just use the Facebook group. I have clients that have been with me 15 years. They can answer the questions. I have staff members that have been with me 10, 15 years as well. So I have some very intelligent staff members and clients as well. A lot of people have achieved amazing results with me, and they're just as smart as I am now. In terms of the supplementation, I'm going to cover that at the end because it's not as important as the food, but supplements can make a difference for sure. And you don't have to buy any supplements, but they can definitely help, especially if you're deficient in things. So let's talk about the meal plan. All right. So most important, the meal plan is not a diet. I don't believe in diets. I believe in experimentation and finding out the right program for you. So what my needs are as an individual are different than my wife's and different from my kids, even though we're all related, right? Because we all have different intolerances, sensitivities, allergies, stresses. There's a lot going on. But there's a few things that people just don't do well on, right? There's 4 key things that I really want you to avoid during the next 28 days and really limit for the rest of your life. Number 1 is gluten. Just do the best you can to avoid it. It is a food that will screw up your digestion and screw up your immune system, all right? So I'll keep that simple. Anything with gluten. Even soy sauce has gluten. So if you're eating soy sauce, get the gluten-free one, all right? That's just number 1. But gluten is a protein that's in most breads, cereals, pastas, and it sneaks up. So you got to look for gluten. You want to make sure there's no gluten in your food, all right? So there's a food list that doesn't have gluten. Number 2, on this particular program, there is no dairy recommendations except for butter and ghee. Butter and ghee. So dairy is really, really hard to digest for people. Now, do I ever eat dairy and gluten? Sure. I did it today, but I do it very rarely. When I talk about rarely, for me, it's like once a week to once a month. And if I ate it daily, I wouldn't be lean like I am today. I kind of hang out around 12% body fat. If I want to get leaner, I kind of turn it on a little bit more, but I would not be hanging around there at that 10, 12% body fat range. So those are the 2 most important things to avoid. The third thing is added sugars. There's added sugars in everything. So especially like Starbucks drinks and these specialty drinks now, they're terrible for you. Coffee is not that terrible, but when you start adding the dairy and then the sugar, it's just toxic. And high school kids are getting wasted on sugar and crappy foods, and they're bigger than they should be, right? They shouldn't be eating that stuff. So third thing is avoid the added sugars. and high sugary foods as well. Like even pineapple is a fruit with a lot of sugar, but there's no added sugars. But still, you may not want to eat a bunch of pineapple, as snacks. Pineapple with meals is a little bit better. We can get into that later. All right. So, and the fourth thing is processed foods. So foods are processed just by heating them, but the worst things you can eat are like boxed foods. Things with labels are generally not good for you because most things with labels are processed, right? So anything that lasts on a shelf for 10, 15 years is probably not good for you, but great for earthquake areas. Like we should all have an earthquake area where we have food ready for problems, right? Tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. Most people eat those kind of foods all day long. That's not a good thing. So things in cans, things in boxes, those really shouldn't be eaten on a daily basis. Those are more for emergencies. So that's kind of a highlight. Those are my top 4 things to consider for 28 days, but really ongoing. All right, so this meal plan has been a work in progress for 20 years. And what we're focused on in this particular strategy is carb rotation, reducing sugar grams, and intermittent fasting. And you guys can read about that. I'm not going to go over all these things, but the ultimate goal for me is to figure out what is your ideal fuel source for your specific needs. So this is just a strategy. I work with people ongoing on a weekly basis and do so for years. I actually pay a nutrition coach myself. I pay him $55 a week to keep me accountable. I know nutrition, but when you're held accountable, you do better, right? And there's different things that I may try to achieve, and I can deviate. I may have to deviate with what I'm doing now. Like if I want to gain weight, I'm going to eat, differently than if I'm trying to lose weight, or if I want to run and be an endurance athlete, I need to eat differently as well. So we can get really in depth with things, but that's not my goal of this 28-day plan. All right. But at the end of the day, I am trying to figure out your specific needs by experimenting with this model. So let's go into here. Let's realize see here. I don't know if this is the right link or not. That is not. Yes, it is. All right. So in your welcome email, you have access to this. Okay. So this is the main portal where everything is held. Okay. So you may want to star this here. I'm like bookmarking it. And then in here, you'll see the 28-day meal plan. Okay. Again, I'm not going to go over this right now because I'm already spending too much time that you guys can read this. But I want to just give you that overview. So in here is a Google document. In case I find anything I wanted to change, I can do that. It may give you all the changes together. But this right here is probably the most important thing. This is what I do. So some of you may say, well, what does this guy Brian really do? I really am a stress reduction coach. You call me a transformation coach. But this is how I help people. My main focus is for you guys to dial in on these 4 things: breathing, hydration, sleep, and food. Get the workouts in, but no, you can work out 2 hours, 3 hours a day, and somebody who only works out 30 minutes a day may do better than you. And I forgot to mention, this is a challenge. There is prizes. So I'm giving you the answer on how to win basically over somebody else. Because even though I tell you guys that the exercise is not important, many of you will you'll want to do 2 workouts. You'll do double workouts. You may do a spinning class on top of this, hire a personal trainer. I've been doing this a long time. Last year alone, I worked with 2,500 people. So I know everybody thinks they need to do more. Trust me, most people need to do less because you're already overly taxing your system. We really need to slow down more and breathe, hydrate more, get at least 7 hours sleep and food. If you have no stress, you could probably do 2 hours of workouts a day, but I don't meet too many people that don't have a lot of stress. So that's our main focus. But so when people have problems, I'm always going to refer back to the 7 primal needs. Now, you guys can read all this. This is the nutrition program. I'm just going to go down here quite a bit. Scoot. This is a pretty fast read, guys. So you can read all my nutrition principles. I already talked about them for the most part. The key things. And water, yeah, you can read all this. Planning, preparing, I just want to touch on that. Plan and prepare your meals. Whatever program you follow, those people that plan and prepare their meals in advance are successful, all right? Now, every program has success as well, because people tend to be focused for short terms. But if the program sucks, people won't continue, right? So, yeah, if you don't get results, people won't continue. So my goal is to kind of deliver amazing results in a short period of time. So you do want to continue, but also understand that I don't expect anybody to follow this exact model in this exact way for years, but it's not a bad thing to do, and will most likely be good for most people because most people don't really focus on food very much. Okay? But plan your meals in advance. You guys can read all this, and there's a lot of a kind of a key thing here. You can read too, number 17, about not under eating. I find that a lot of people, when they go healthy, they tend to undereat. And undereating can be as bad as overeating, especially if you're working out. So that's just a key thing. So read this little information here about your basal metabolic rate. Nobody should be starving themselves or hungry. And we can kind of dial it a little bit more if we kind of use MyFitnessPal and journal what you're eating in MyFitnessPal. Again, do you need to do that right away? Not necessarily, but if you're concerned that you're under eating and you're not losing body fat and weight on a weekly basis, that may be a good thing to look into. Okay, so here's the basic model that I want you all to think about. And regardless if I have a few people that are even in my 42-day detox, even doing this model as well. This is good for everybody. Nobody really should be up at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock. You're going to gain a layer of belly fat or more. You're going to have a lot of health issues. So you don't have to follow this exact model, but most people should go to bed and be asleep. Again, most people should be asleep around 10 p.m. If you're going to bed, if you're asleep at 12 or 1 right now, just try to work yourself down. All right. So if your goal is to be asleep at 10, you have to reverse engineer it. I want you to get a minimum of 7 hours sleep in order to get the best possible recovery from your workouts. And remember, we actually kind of recover in our sleep. So if you don't get sleep, you're not going to lose weight and body fat. You're not going to digest well, and bad things are going to happen, really, if you do it for too long. So ideally, if I want to be asleep at 10, I want to shut down my technology at 9. And during that time, I want to prepare for tomorrow. I want to prepare for the perfect day. And in doing so, I need to prepare my clothes for workouts, prepare my meals. I want to do a little relaxation and calm the nervous system so I can sleep. So that is the goal. And, if I'm going to shut down if I want to be asleep at 10, I don't want to eat for about 3 hours before I go to bed. So I want to stop eating around 7. So I'm kind of reverse engineering life. So that could be, maybe for you, it's 11 o'clock you need to be asleep, whatever. Just kind of play with this model. All right. Now, if I go to bed at 10, ideally I wake up at 6. So personally, my goal is to be asleep at 10 and to wake up at 5. So I'm getting about 7 hours sleep. If I get less than 7, I'm not doing well. Sleep, I can do it for a couple of days, but my workouts are terrible, and I can just feel I just don't digest well. Doesn't go well. So I want you to avoid eating until about 9. All right. That's called intermittent fasting. That's a 14-hour fast. If I stop eating at 7 and don't eat till 9, I am fasting for 14 hours. Now, if you're hungry at 7, eat. But my point is, I don't think you need to. All right. You don't need to eat right when you get up, but let's eat around 9. The best results of intermittent fasting are somewhere between 14 and 16 hours. Do I do that every day? No. Do you need to? No. But I found that 14 to 16 hours is pretty darn good. So think about that, and then have a snack around 11, lunch around 2, snack around 4:30. And again, a snack could just be like, maybe you got maybe your lunch you broke up into 2. That could be snack. Snack could be a bar, snack could be a smoothie, snack could be a piece of fruit. Okay? So that's kind of the model. So that's my preferred model of living. And you guys can read more about that. So I have some supplement recommendations here. And again, you don't need to take products at all, but those people that did take products lost more body fat and increased muscle mass. And I can go over some of that stuff later, and you can read about that as well. So I have it labeled as protein here. I'm not telling you how many servings to eat. I'm just telling you that 2 eggs is a serving. Does that understand? Make sense? So I'm not telling you to limit to 1 serving. I'm just telling you this is just basic nutrition 101. That 2 eggs is considered 1 serving of protein. 3 ounces of chicken is considered 1 serving. But I'm not necessarily telling you to limit yourself to that. And by the way, 3 ounces is about a palm. So that's 1 serving of meat. So, women, maybe you eat about, 1 to 2 servings of protein per meal, maybe in breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Guys, maybe 2 to 3. Play around with it. See how you feel. Okay. If you don't eat a lot of animal proteins, you're going to eat, organic soy. I'm not a big fan of soy, but I know we have a lot of vegetarians. At least try to eat, the fish. Nuts and seeds are in here as well. I'm not a big fan of eating a bunch of nuts and seeds. That can definitely be problematic for digestion, but something to think about. Also, protein powders can definitely help speed up things. Like not everybody wants to cook breakfast. I'm kind of a protein powder guy for breakfast. A lot of people like that. So anyway, so that's the proteins. And again, there is fat in those foods as well. It's not just protein. We have our vegetables here. Eat unlimited vegetables. Again, notice here, very little sugar. Really key to notice this. All right, sorry. Notice the sugar grams. It's all labeled here. 11 grams in beets. Interesting. Okay, I'm not saying not to eat beets. I'm just telling you there's a lot of sugar in beets. Fresh fruit. I label the sugar here. Blueberries have more sugar than raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. But all of those are still low sugar options. Bouncing here. Okay. All right. But notice like apricots, pretty good amount of sugar in 4 spots. 4 small apricots as well. It's a good amount of apricots. Yeah, just notice all the sugar grams here. My goal is to educate you in a big way. And we are doing the carb cycling thing where my goal is to have you eat more starchy carbs every 4 days. So I don't want you to eat these on days 1 through 3, but day 4, you're gonna have a couple servings. Guys, you probably could have 3 servings. So just play it by ear. Ultimately, you know best on what you should be eating. I'm not a big fan of counting calories because I've still yet to see an animal in the wild count calories. I've yet to see an animal in the wild count calories, and I've yet to see an overweight animal in the wild. Because they eat local, seasonal things. They don't eat crap. They don't eat frappuccinos and Twinkies and things like that. So they don't eat a lot of sugar. But animals in our homes that eat garbage foods, they don't do very well. All right, so every 4 days, we're gonna eat some of those things there. And it kind of looks like this. Day 1, we're gonna start together. It's gonna be Monday. We're gonna carb cycle together. We're all gonna have carbs, yay, carbs, on Thursday, all right? And people always ask me, do I have to have carbs? Like, well, you don't have to, but if you're working out, it's not a bad thing to do, all right? If you're not working out, maybe you don't, okay? And maybe you wanna do something on Friday, like have like a fun night out. You could switch the carb day to then. It's fine. It's not gonna be a difference. So you just remember that. Healthy fats. Keep in mind that fats don't make you fat. Most of the time, people are overweight because they're eating processed crap. Too much sugar, gluten, and dairy, and things they don't agree with that make them bloated and gassy and things like that. Like nuts, I'm not a big fan. They're hard to digest, but I like seeds a little bit better. I put nuts on here again just to make it simple, but like just so you guys know, in our 42-day detox, there are no nuts in our program. There are no seeds. There's not even any butter in that program. It's a little more strict program. Okay, eat those fruits freely. Lemons and limes, vinegars, and all that stuff. Okay, so here's a sample meal plan. You all can read that later. This is just for your reference. Just gives you an idea how to balance things out. So I'm just looking for a protein, fat, and carb in each meal. So we got 2 eggs is protein and fat. We got a carb is the spinach, and a little more carbs is the raspberries. So it's a pretty balanced meal. So we always want to think, what's my protein, what's my carb, what's my fat? All right, that's the model. So there's some ideas for you. You don't have to follow those ideas. They're just there to help you. All right, and then you all can read that later. There's a ton of recipes here. Okay, lots of recipes. So that is the nutrition piece. And then, we have some, recommended supplementation. So, that's the food piece though. So just real quick on the supplementation. We spend 5 minutes here. So Dr. Kashi is one of my mentors. I work with him privately, and I pay, that's the guy I pay for weekly coaching and accountability. And he works with Olympic athletes, bodybuilders, fitness models, strongmen, a lot of the strongmen, also a lot of CrossFits. And, he created a supplement company because he was given funding from one of my mentors, because, he used a lot of supplementation with all of his athletes, and, they're Olympic athletes. So, and like professionals, they need to make sure their products are clean and effective. And what he was able to do, he had a lot of his athletes on like a high number of products, like 15, 20 products, you name it. And he was able to reduce the amount of products they were on by making more synergistic blends, by putting a lot of things together. So what he does really is he focuses a lot on recovery and performance. So the 2 areas that Dr. Kashi focuses on, and we've been privileged to be able to sell his products. I actually sell other products as well, but I love his stuff for recovery and performance. I sell kind of more medical type stuff. Like if you have digestive issues, I actually have other things we do. But for recovery and performance, Prestige Labs is really, really good. Now, most people come to me because they want to lose weight and body fat. So if you were just to get one product, my recommendation for most people, again, we can kind of talk about your particular situations, because I know there's vegetarians, there's vegans, there's people breastfeeding, there's people who are, I have a client that has cancer, or lots of people had cancer. Actually, a lot of my clients had cancer and they've come to me, unfortunately. But so there's lots of different scenarios. People on medications. So you can talk to me about your specific needs, and that's when you want to get me on Boxer. So tell me, hey Brian, I'm on an antidepressant and high cholesterol. What do you recommend? And I'm also taking these supplements already. What do you recommend for me? Blah, blah, blah. All right, so just Boxer me and we can get into details. But my number one product for the average person on this program, because it's kind of self-selective, it's called the 28-day Summer Slimdown for a reason. Most people in here, I figure if they wanted to gain muscle and be a bodybuilder on stage, they wouldn't be here. So most of you want to lose body fat, increase your metabolism, flatten your belly. So think Burn AM, number 1, all right? So again, you don't need anything. If you want to be eligible to win any of the prizes, you have to take at least one product, because Prestige they're giving $1,000 away to 8 people, a male and a female, and then I'm also giving additional prizes away. So in order to win their contest, you have to take a product. Burn AM would be number 1. It increases your metabolic rate, so you burn more calories while you're sitting all day, while you're in the shower, while you're at the desk. You'll actually feel your body heat up, and it's a little bit alarming at first. Your face gets a little red, but it only lasts about 30 minutes. That's how you know it's working. So there's things like cayenne pepper in there. There's no stimulants. So really amazing product. My second most important product is Burn PM. What that does is it calms your nervous system down. So a lot of people are very anxious, especially around bedtime, because they're up on technology. They have a lot on their mind. They have a lot to do the next day. They weren't productive that day, maybe, whatever. The day just didn't turn out well. And you go to bed anxious and you just sit there. If that's you, think Burn PM, all right? It calms you down. It reduces anxiety. So consider that. Again, if you're not an anxious person, you don't have stress, you don't sleep, you have great sleep, that's not for you. But it also curbs carb cravings. So if you have that problem, any of those two things, think Burn PM. My third favorite product is Sleep Multiplier. All right. And that, again, is for someone who is not getting a nice restful sleep. So the combination of Burn PM and Sleep Multiplier work synergistically to really give you a good night's sleep. But if you only get 6 hours or less sleep, don't take Sleep Multiplier. Not good, because it's going to put you in a deep sleep and you're going to wake up. Let's say you had to wake up because of whatever, you had something to get up and you just gave yourself 6 hours sleep. You're going to wake up in a coma. It's not a good thing. So you only want to take Sleep Multiplier if you have 7 or more hours where you are going to be asleep. Otherwise, you're not going to feel good on it. Okay. And also, it says on the bottle, take 3. But I would just recommend taking 1. 1 Sleep Multiplier and 1 Burn PM would actually last you 3 months. And you may not ever need to ramp it up. You could, but just something to consider. So these are 1 month supplies that they come in if you follow the labels. But again, like I said, you don't necessarily need to be at that dose. And then it would last 3 months instead of 1 month. What else? My fourth favorite product is Bulletproof Vitality. It's a multivitamin for a male and a female. So that product alone is not just a multivitamin. Actually, Dr. Kashi's wife said that one product is her favorite product above all else. She said, have your clients, she actually told my wife this, she said, have your clients just take a before photo, take the Bulletproof Vitality 3 capsules for 7 days, do an after photo, and they should be much leaner in 7 days just on that product alone. So it's like a multivitamin on steroids. And again, not too expensive either. That product's like $37. And if you did like the subscribe and save model, it's like 11% off. So just think about that. I take all of this stuff, like EFA is a fish oil. Teststorm increases testosterone, and that increases strength and muscle. It can be used for male or female. Last minute cleanse could be something you take the last week of this challenge. That was developed for fitness models and bodybuilders to prepare for a photo shoot. And it really just gets rid of the bloat in your belly and helps you eliminate before a photo shoot. So those are kind of the main products. And then pre-workout helps you get better workouts. You have more endurance. And post-workout helps with recovery. I'm sorry, intra, it's called intra. It helps you with recovery and you take it post-workout. So that's a basic gist of the products, everybody. I take something called the Ultimate. It's pretty good. If your budget is lacking though, or you have a budget that you are a little low on funds, consider taking there's a buy 3 get 1 free model that Prestige is offering. And this stuff's like 40% off retail. So we're getting good deals because I work with Dr. Kashi, and you guys can read that later. But you could buy 3 get 1 free, and I will follow up with all of you. But there's information on the products in your information. So you can order online, but remember, buy 3 get 1 free. If your budget allows, the Ultimate's great. But like I told you, that Burn AM, Burn PM, those two, the Sleep and the Bulletproof Vitality are probably good for most people. Something like this, or the EFA, that helps balance hormones. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask me specifically about products on Boxer, and then I can give you more specific information though. All right, so ladies, do you have any questions? A couple of you that are online?
No.
All right, cool.
Not yet.
Awesome. So go through the information. There's a lot of information that I posted, so get through that. And if you need any help with anything, let me know. And we'll see you on Monday. Get those measurements done. you want assistance, Boxer is the place. Download the app on your phone and look me up, Coach Brian, Brien, and I'll be in contact you there. All right.
Okay. So just one quick, the measurements, do we have to go into like one of the places to do it, or how do we?
There's only one place, Belmont Harbor.
Harbor. Okay.
And that's all in your welcome email.
Right. So we just go in and we don't have to like schedule to do that.
You have to schedule, yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a link to schedule in there too.
Okay. I did see that. I'll do that today then.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.